Sure you stay tuned. But in the news, a crackdown today in Egypt on a leading member of the Muslim Brotherhood. The government's prosecutor has ordered the arrest of the Brotherhood's spiritual leader and not 9 other top Islamists.
The government says they may have started the violence Monday that killed 54 people. The move comes as Egyptians are divided about their future. Chris Mitchell brings us the story from Cairo.
This is Tahrir Square, the epicenter of the huge demonstrations that have taken place in the past few weeks. Here, Egyptians have gathered by the millions and changed the course of Egypt's history.
Change the atmosphere as if you are breathing a new air, a fresh air. Freedom.
Pastor Sami Taufik of the El-Dobara Evangelical Church just outside of Tahrir Square describes the events of the past few weeks as nothing short of miraculous.
For me, it's a miracle. It's a miracle. It's God's hands. Nobody can do that. We could see God's hands in the first revolution, the 25th of January. But this time we see it more clearly.
In another part of Cairo, Father Antoni Grish, the spokesman of Egypt's Catholic Church, also says he sees the hand of God.
We consider the dismissal of Morsi and his party, his community, his Muslim Brotherhood, is really a miracle. It was the hand of God. Because one day before his dismissal, we could never think or dream that he would leave. So it is the hand of God. We see it clearly.
He says the Muslim Brotherhood wanted to establish an Islamic caliphate and change Egypt.
The Muslim Brotherhood who were trying to steal Egypt. Now all the Christians and the Egyptians will tell you, now we regained Egypt as we know it. That everybody is free.
Yet that freedom's future is uncertain. Whether or not the Muslim Brotherhood will continue to reject the new government or even begin a new violent intifada remains to be seen. That's why Christians throughout Egypt are asking for prayer for Egypt's future.
Well, Chris Mitchell is with us now from Tahrir Square in Cairo. And Chris, tell me about this uprising. Was it against the Brotherhood, against Morsi? How do you read it?
I think it was against the Muslim Brotherhood, Pat, and Morsi himself. I think some people have described the past year with Morsi as a nightmare, and I think it was a complete rejection of what the Muslim Brotherhood wanted to do, is what many people have said to me, establish an Islamic theocracy. That's been their goal since they were established in 1928. They tried to do that in Egypt, and I think what's happened here is a complete rejection. Why there were maybe 30 million people here in Tahrir Square and throughout Egypt on June 30th. Many people here in Egypt consider that sort of their July 4th, when they threw off the yoke of the Muslim Brotherhood and established what they hope is a new dawn of freedom.
What about their reaction to Obama and America? What are they telling you?
Well, what they're telling me, Pat, is they're sad, they're disappointed, and very perplexed why the Obama administration would be supporting the Muslim Brotherhood. They say that, you know, the United States, which represents freedom and democracy, but yet it didn't support freedom and democracy here in Egypt. They say, why does it fight terrorism in Afghanistan and then finance terrorism here in Egypt, which they consider the Muslim Brotherhood a terrorist organization? Just below me, Pat, in Tahrir Square, you can signs that say Obama supports terrorism, and also the U.S. ambassador to Egypt, Ann Patterson, is somebody that really has engendered a lot of anger here in Egypt because they believe that she has supported the Muslim Brotherhood. She's met with the Muslim Brotherhood leaders and Salafists, another radical Islamic party, and yet marginalized many Christians, many secular Egyptians, and moderate Muslims. And so there's a lot of animus, there's a lot of misunderstanding why the United States government, and they say, they make it clear that they're not against the United States people, the American people, but they're against what the United States government is doing right now in Egypt.
The Brotherhood is very well organized, as you know, Chris. Is there a chance of a real full-blown civil war, or will the military take control and arrest people and quiet things down?
I think the military is trying to do that right now by arresting Mohammed Badi and the other members of the Muslim Brotherhood. But I'm not sure we're going to see a civil war in the sense like you can see in Lebanon between Sunni and Shiite. The people I talk to say they do expect violent backlash, but not the kind of civil war. One thing that's happened, I think, in the past year is many people have been disillusioned with the kind of Islam, the kind of Muslim theology that's espoused by Mohammed Morsi and the Muslim Brotherhood. So I don't expect a full-blown civil war, but many people do some sort of violent backlash in the next few weeks or months. It remains to be seen how the Muslim Brotherhood is going to react, whether they're going to accept to go back into the political process or perhaps launch a violent intifada like some people have done, for example, in Algeria that lasted for more than a decade. We'll see. It remains to be seen what's going to happen, how they react to what's going on right now.
Last question. How bad was it for Christians during the reign of the Brotherhood? What did they do to them?
Well, in a word, Pat, they said it was a nightmare. They said it was horrible. The spokesman for the Catholic Church said that Christians were treated not just as second-class citizens, but fourth-class citizens. Many Christians have also been targeted. There was a Coptic priest who was killed in Sinai a few days ago. There were some churches that were burned in Luxor. But one thing I've heard from Christians is they say what's happened here is a result, in many part, because of prayer. And they say don't underestimate the power of prayer. And what Christians are telling me is that they want Christians around the world to be praying for Egypt at this time, be praying for the church at this time, be praying for the gospel at this time, because many people have been open in the last couple of years to the gospel like never before. So they say it's a very fruitful time of spiritual harvest, but they're asking that people would pray for them.
Chris, thank you. Stay safe, my friend. God bless you. Chris Mitchell in Cairo, our reporter on the scene, showing you what's happening.